of the BookTube-a-thon. So let's get started so it's not so ridiculously long. Okay, so the first 3 books that I'm going to talk about are the Princess Diaries series books. We have Princess on the Brink, which this one fulfilled the challenge of read a book with an author who shares the same first letter of your last name. So my last name starts with C. Her, Meg Cabot's last name starts with C. So here we go. I didn't like this book. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. I felt like I was being very generous with this. I thought that the storyline was just not very good and had a really bad message to young women about sex, and it just wasn't good. Okay, and then the next book in that series, which is Princess Mia. This is the 9th book, and this fulfilled the challenge of read a book that you last acquired. So this was the last book I got from the library, and I like this one better. I thought that, I don't know, the storyline was still kind of silly, and I don't know, but I liked that the adults finally started acting like adults and were standing up for Mia and making Mia face issues and not just be a drama queen about them all the time. So it was okay, but not my favorite. Okay, and then the last book in the Princess Diaries series is The Princess Forever, the 10th book, and this book was okay. It wasn't my favorite, but it was much better than the last 2 that I had read. And it fulfilled the challenge of read a book with blue on the cover. And look, it's all blue. Yay! I have to say, overall, I really enjoyed this series. I'm glad that I read it. I think it was a fun read. I would not recommend it for young teenage girls. I think maybe if you start them at like age 14 and having them read like 2 a year, then by the time that they're in their senior year, they would be mature enough to know that Mia is actually just ridiculous, and the issues she deals with them in a completely wrong way. But I don't know, I still think they were fun, and I don't know, I'm glad I read this series, and I'm looking forward to reading the Royal Wedding. So the next book that I'm going to be talking about is Calling Me Home by Julie Kibler, and this book fulfills the challenge of read a book that is someone else's favorite book, and I have to say this book was so fantastic. Oh my goodness, it was so good. It follows Miss Isabel, who is a 90-year-old white woman, and Dory, who is in her mid-30s, and she is a black woman, and she is Miss Isabel's hairdresser. And Miss Isabel asks her to drive her home, which is like 1,000 miles away. And so it's story of their journey to Miss Isabel's home, and you have the present view is from Dory's point of view, and her life is kind of falling apart, and then you get Miss Isabel's point of view from the late 1930s. She grew up in Kentucky, and her family was a predominant white family, and she talks about her dealings with race, and she grew up in a town that was very racist, and it's just her story of finding friendship and love, and it was just so amazing, so amazing. Like, it was so good. It brought out every kind of emotion that I could. Like, I was laughing out loud at some points, I was crying, I was angry, I felt disappointment, and it was so amazing. It was so amazing. I think I just really love fiction stories that really that bring more light into our history and how people were treated back then, and it was so amazing. So I highly recommend this, and thank you, Whitney, for recommending this book to me. And guys, she just started her BookTube channel, so I'm going to put a link down to her channel below, so give her some BookTube love, and oh my goodness, and go read this book because it is fantastic. Okay, and then the next book that I'm going to talk about is Lumberjanes. This is the book that filled the requirement of never letting go, and it is an amazing, cute graphic novel about these 5 girls that are at summer camp, and all these crazy things are happening, and I laughed out loud, and it was so fun. And my husband laughed at me for having to hold on to this while we're eating dinner, and it was so good. I cannot wait for the next volume to come out, or to get the next volume. I don't know if it's out or not, but it was so good. It ended on a cliffhanger, and I'm so glad I picked this up. So I highly, highly recommend Lumberjanes. So the 6th book that I'm going to talk about is a novella out of the Summer Brides. I read the first one, which is The March Bride by Rachel Hawk, and it continues the story from Once Upon a Prince, and I really enjoyed it. Thought it was a great continuation of the story, and I loved the characters, and I loved the ending. It was so good, so good. Okay. And then the 7th book, which fulfills the last challenge of read 7 books, is I decided, because I was getting pretty late in the week, didn't know if I was going to finish, so I decided to nix all the other books that were on my shelf and decided to read another novella out of this here book. And I read the last one because it was shorter than the second one, and that is A May Bride by Meg Mosley. And I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. It followed this girl Ellie and this guy Gray, and they just meet and they start dating, and they have a very whirlwind romance, and her mother is just overbearing and just kind of crazy and dealing with family issues, and Gray feeling like she's always choosing her family, and will they make it to their wedding? And I don't know. I think that if there would have been 300 pages to flesh this story out, to really give great character development and to move the plot forward in a more natural way, I think this book could have been great. However, this just fell flat for me. I felt like the author was pushing the story and pushing you in the direction that she wanted you to go instead of you naturally getting there. And I felt like to get these characters to a May wedding, it was so forced, and I just didn't like it. I didn't like the fact that she mentioned how she hated her wedding dress, but it didn't matter because she was getting married anyway. I'm like, I know it's a frivolous thing, but you should feel beautiful on your wedding, and it just, I don't know, I just didn't like it. It was, but I finished it, and I finished the last challenge, reading 7 books in 7 days. I will admit that I technically finished A May Bride like at 3 a.m. on Monday. So technically, Booktube-a-thon was over for me, but I figured, it's Booktube-a-thon somewhere, like in Hawaii, so still works, and I'm counting it as a win. So that is my wrap-up, guys. Let me know down below how you guys did and some of your favorite books that you read during the week. I had a great time in this readathon. I have to say that other things in my life kind of took a back seat to, reading, like laundry and cleaning my house and other things, but I had a great time, and it's been a lot of fun. I've had a great time, making the Mr. Potato Head videos, and it's just been so much fun. So, okay guys, I think that's long enough, and I'm getting really hot, and dinner's almost ready, so I will see you guys on the flip side. Bye! Bye! And keep watching for Mr. Potato Head Adventures, because he's gonna have some more. Just gonna say.